Hi there, LBF church family. You know, I sure miss you guys. Looking at being able to see you face to face, giving you a handshake or a quick hug. I look forward to the time we get to be together. In the meantime, I've got a question for you today. I want you to think about. Have you ever experienced a time where someone made a promise to you and then they didn't keep it? They promised that they would do something for you or give you something, but they just didn't follow through. And when that happened, I know that's happened to you, I know it's happened to me, what did that make you feel like? I know for me, it becomes a time where I go, can I trust that person? Can I trust them again? Will that person let me down one more time? If they promise they're going to do something, will they actually follow through and do it? Now, I ask you that question because today, funny enough, I was reading out of the book of Lamentations in the Old Testament, and Jeremiah wrote the book of Lamentations, and he was not in a good place at least in chapter 3, where I'm going to walk with us today. He was having a difficult time, and I want to share that with you and then share his response to this difficult time he was going through. He says in verse 19 of chapter 3, he says, I remember my affliction and my wandering. Boy, we remember our wandering, right? We used to go all over the place, and now we're isolated, we're to stay at home, but we remember those times. He says, I well remember them, and my soul is downcast within me. I mean, he's not doing well. When you say your soul is downcast, that's not the height of happiness. But then look at what he says next. He says, yet this I call to mind, and therefore I have hope. In other words, when I think about this, I have hope. And look what he says in verse 22. He says, because of the Lord's great love, we are not consumed. This word love is the word hesed in the Old Testament Hebrew. And this word is a rich and deep word with full meaning. It's not just this love, it's the best translation we have for it, but it can be translated steadfastness, God's loving kindness. In other words, God's love for us is strong, it's steadfast, it never changes. He's filled with loving kindness to us. So we can say, because of the Lord's steadfast love, we are not consumed. His compassions, they never fail. 23, verse 23 says, they are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. In other words, when God says he's going to make a promise, or when he makes a promise to us that we find in Scripture, and let me tell you, there are plenty, and there are thousands of promises that God makes to us, we can count on God to keep those promises. Maybe you've come across them when you've read Scripture at some point. One way or the other, we can count that God will take care of what he said he's going to do. Then look at how Jeremiah takes from where his soul was downcast, and when he recalls God's faithfulness to him, here's what he says, I say to myself, in other words, he talks to himself, the Lord is my portion. Therefore, I will wait for him. The Lord is good to those whose hope is in him, to the one who seeks him. I want to encourage you to seek him and to hope in him in this time. And even as I read that, it reminded me of days when I was worship pastor here at LBF, and we would sing songs on Sunday morning. Occasionally I'd pick out this song that I grew up with as a kid. They call it a hymn. But let me read portions of it, which this song is based on this passage in Lamentations. The song is called, silly enough, Great is Thy Faithfulness. You've probably heard of it if you've been around church at any length of time, but I want to read a couple of verses and then go into the chorus. He says, great is thy faithfulness, O God my Father. There is no shadow of turning with thee. Thou changest not, thy compassions, they fail not. As thou hast been, thou forever will be. Pardon for sin, and a peace that endures. Thine own dear presence to cheer and to guide. How true. Strength for today and bright hope for tomorrow. Blessings all mine with 10,000 beside. And then the chorus says this, great is thy faithfulness. Great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning, new mercies I see. All I have needed, thy hand hath provided. Great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me. As you go out throughout your day, as you go throughout the rest of your week this week, would you just keep that in mind? That when God makes a promise, he'll be faithful to keep it. Great is his faithfulness to us. And I pray that that would be an encouragement to you as we live through this most difficult and challenging time. God bless you all. I pray you have a great day today.